Ever wondered why you or someone you know, despite finding the perfect partner, ends up breaking things off abruptly? It's a situation that's becoming all too common these days. Some point fingers at the rise of new dating apps and ever-evolving dating trends, arguing that they've completely altered the rules of the relationship game. In turn, they suggest we've become colder and more withdrawn. But what if this sudden abandonment of love, this casual, "I wasn't really in love," is more than just a cop-out? What if it's a symptom of something deeper, something more irrational? Enter philophobia, the fear of falling in love. Yes, you heard that right. It's a real fear, and it might be the hidden reason behind our emotional disconnect. So, this sudden "I wasn't really in love" might be a symptom of philophobia. Let's dive deep into what philophobia really is. According to psychology expert Jesus Linares, philophobia is not your average fear. It's not like being afraid of spiders or heights. No, this is a persistent, irrational fear of initiating and maintaining a romantic relationship. This phobia may not be listed in your standard diagnostic manual, but it's very real for those who experience it. The origins of this fear can often be traced back to our upbringing and experiences. The way our environment and our responses to it have shaped our internal learnings play a significant role. For instance, if our upbringing discouraged the expression of emotions or feelings, it's likely that we've internalized that. Consequently, expressing emotions in a relationship might seem like an insurmountable obstacle, leading to repeated failures. These failures, in turn, could make us view relationships as a hostile phenomenon. So, philophobia is essentially our fear of emotional vulnerability, isn't it? But what triggers this fear of falling in love? The roots of philophobia, as explained by psychologist Sandra Ferreira Sabioncello, often lie buried in the soil of our past experiences. Past failed relationships or traumatic experiences related to love can instigate this fear. It's like a wound that hasn't fully healed, causing pain each time it's touched. Imagine you've given your all in a relationship, only to have it crumble like a castle of sand. Or you've witnessed the dissolution of your parents' marriage as a child, the two pillars of your world collapsing. Such experiences can scar the psyche, making the prospect of falling in love akin to walking on a minefield. To illustrate, consider the example of Queen Elizabeth I of England, a figure of power and resilience, yet she never engaged in a romantic relationship or marriage. Some historians believe the execution of her mother, Anne Boleyn, by her husband for falling in love with a cousin, may have triggered philophobia in Elizabeth. This tragic event possibly led her to renounce romantic relationships entirely. Just like Queen Elizabeth, many of us might have our own ghosts from the past influencing our present. We might not be aware, but these experiences can shape our emotional responses, sometimes leading to irrational fears like philophobia. Sometimes the past does cast a shadow on our present, doesn't it? Are men more prone to philophobia, or is it women? That's a question that often pops up when discussing this fear of falling in love. Well, according to Jesus Linares, a psychology expert, this condition does not discriminate based on gender. It can affect both men and women equally. Linares suggests that philophobia isn't about being male or female, but it's more about our individual experiences and the way we were brought up. Our upbringing, the environment we grew up in, our parents' relationship, and how they expressed love, all these factors significantly shape our emotional responses and internal learning. For instance, if we grew up in a family where expressing emotions was shunned or penalized, we might grow up fearing emotional connection, fearing love. This fear then becomes a hurdle in our relationships, leading to repeated failures. And over time, these failures might make us perceive relationships as hostile phenomena. But here's the thing, even if our upbringing has set us on this path, it doesn't mean we're doomed to stay on it. Acknowledging the fear is the first step. Understanding that philophobia is not a gendered issue, but a human one, is crucial. It's not about being a man or a woman. It's about being a person who has experienced pain and is afraid of experiencing it again. So it's not about the gender, but about the experiences and upbringing. Interesting, isn't it? So, what have we learned about philophobia? Quite a bit, actually. We've discovered that philophobia is an intense, irrational fear of falling in love. It's not in any diagnostic manual, but it's very real for those who experience it. This fear can be triggered by a variety of factors, including past heartbreaks, traumatic experiences related to love, such as a parental divorce or the death of a loved one. Philophobia doesn't discriminate, affecting both men and women. The influence of upbringing and past experiences can play a significant role in its development. It's important to remember that understanding our fears is a powerful tool in learning to overcome them. We've also seen that even royalty, like Queen Elizabeth I, are not immune to such fears. Remember, it's okay to seek help if you need it. Facing our fears is the first step towards overcoming them. So let's face them, shall we?